Hi, welcome to week 2 of my Antler recap. I'm trying to do this every week, take a lot of time, but I think it's really good for me to just reflect and share with some friends and family and people in my network who said from last week that they felt like this video was helpful and that I need to keep on doing this. So here goes. But yeah, I just want to kind of update on what we did on week 2 and just share my thoughts on the program so far, how I'm feeling going into week 3. I'm actually recording right now in the middle of week 3, but I'll try to be kind of putting myself in the hat of end of week 2. But yeah, since week 1, it's been a little bit of a change. Week 2 is a little bit more free-flowing in terms of the schedule, but we still had a lot of work and a lot of talks from different people, kind of third-party speakers, from different VCs, and talking about customer discovery and about business canvases and about kind of how to build a great company. What are VCs looking for as for founders and startups to invest in, and how to find the right co-founders for your startup. But I'll start off by talking a little bit about the schedule, and maybe we can go from there. We started off, I guess Monday is just kind of getting to know each other a little bit more, some lunch, and then they had a call. We had a talk with venture capital called Radical Ventures. They are a VC that's focused on investing in AI companies. So I'll share a bit more about what I've learned through that talk then as well. And for the first couple of days, we actually had another design sprint. So basically, we all grouped up in a group of 6 people, up to 6, and came up with basically we want to come up with a business idea, and the topic around that was to build a $1 billion kind of AI-powered business. So anything that uses AI, whether it's from B2C, B2B, and basically that was basically the only requirement, and we had to group up. And our group actually came with an idea around using AI to leverage visibility in engineering productivity. How can we use AI to help managers hold engineers more accountable, have more visibility on how they do the engineering work throughout the week. And this was an idea that me and another guy from my team came up with individually. And we thought, we did a lot of brainstorming around different ideas, mostly in B2B SaaS frameworks, but also in other platforms and other directions. But we kind of aligned as a team on this idea. So that was really fun. We did that for a couple days, Monday and Tuesday. And then we had a presentation at the end of Tuesday. On Tuesday, we also had a talk from an ESG expert. So ESG is basically environmental, societal, and governance. So this is kind of things you have to keep in mind of when you're building a company to scale. You have to be mindful about emissions, supply chains, risk, diversity, equality, and these things matter differently based on what kind of company you're trying to build, but just things to be mindful of and things that you need to address and be proactive about as you build startups from day one, and just to be mindful that you're not taking any shortcuts that could eventually come back and bite you later. So we learned a lot there. Did the design sprint, and then on Wednesday we had a talk from Bernie, one of our partners here in Antler Toronto. He talked about what VCs are looking for in terms of the right founders, the right team, the right product. How is he as a VC himself validating and knowing where to put his money? So a lot to learn there. And later we had a talk from Alan Smith, who's an expert around kind of just developing frameworks for how to validate startups and to know what you need to do at this moment, and how do you plan and strategize your kind of go-to-market. We did some kind of exercises around like building out a business canvas, classic MVP framework. Also, just a few things around, you know, validating frameworks around pricing, how to, you know, how to weigh out what ideas and features you need to prioritize based on frequency and pain strength, and you know, how to know if your customer is problem aware, solution aware, and how do you address and approach them depending on, like, you know, where you are and what you're trying to solve. That was really cool. A lot of really good actionable insights there. And we did continue another design sprint, which is basically like this is one is a little bit different. For design sprint 3 and 4, they actually grouped it up together. So this is on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We just wanted to, they encourage us to kind of find groups of 2 to 4 and basically start kind of really digging down deeper into our ideas that we want to really work on personally. And this is not just like kind of pseudo, like hypothetical projects. This is like, you know, we want to group up with someone that we potentially want to work with, and kind of dig deeper, build out that business model canvas, start talking to customers, which kind of leads us to the next day on Friday, where we kind of have a presentation about customer discovery. You know, learning deeper into what kind of questions you should be asking. Obviously, the Mom Test is a great book that everybody who wants to talk to customers should, you know, at least have read or skimmed through. And using that framework to understand, you know, how do you talk to customers? How do you extract information in the right way that is not leading them to that direction, and how to get them to be honest but also validate a lot of your assumptions. So design sprint 3 and 4 was basically kind of us applying all the learnings ourselves into one of the ideas that we want to validate. And yeah, that was really great. And I can share more insights about it later in the call. And that was pretty much the week. That was the schedule. So obviously still very hectic, a lot of sitting and listening, but a lot more of actually, you know, planning out your ideas, talking to the people that you want to work with, and preparing for week 3. The week 3 is going to be a lot different. I'm currently week 3 right now. It's where everybody's encouraged to track out. So track out meaning you group up with some people, 1 or 2 or 3, and you're saying to the rest of the group that you are basically in a relationship and you want to kind of be committed to exploring something with someone else. And this is obviously a serious thing, because this means you're committed to working together and that no one else should be bothering you. But it's also kind of nerve-wracking to know who you want to work with, what you want to work on, especially when you know, come in without any strong conviction of what you want to work on, like, which is my case. So it was that's been quite interesting at the end of week 2 to really sit down and kind of you know, explore different people that I want to work with, and really having to choose, because not only you want to work with them, but you know that others want to work with them as well, and at the same time there's a lot of people wanting to work with you, and knowing, being open-minded, listening to different ideas, and also listening to yourself to know what you want to do. Yeah, so things that I've learned from this week, I think first thing from sprints, those design sprints, is that you really need to work with someone to really know if you want to work with someone. Just having these basic shallow conversations we had during week 1 is not enough. There are a lot of people that you would think that you want to work with, but then after working with them for a little bit, you realize that there's no fit, or you might realize that other people that you were not even considering in the first week, you're like more open-minded to working with them and seeing how effective they are as like co-founders in brainstorming and taking action, and the mindset in collaboration. So that's been really eye-opening. A lot of really interesting kind of validations I've had through the working with the right people and like learning and hearing about other people's and how they communicate with other teams as well. So definitely try to find the people that you align with and you feel good vibes with, and spend the second week together as much as you can, because that's how you really get to know. And then obviously with the few talks that I went, one with Radical Venture, with the VC that backs AI companies, just went over the job of a VC from his point of view and what he's looking for as a best founder in terms of like founder market fit. Do you have the expertise coming in to this field that you know what you're getting yourself into? Like the track record of success, like even in other fields, do you have a track record of success, good education, good employment, like good metrics and good deliverables. Leadership, charisma, integrity is a big part. Making sure that this person is honest and truthful, and work ethic, obviously. He went over how VC invest in AI in the state of 2023. You can't just be like a wrapper around like GPT, OpenAI. You want to build something with strong moat. I think in AI, mostly a lot of moat comes from data. So like garbage in, garbage out. So you want to really have some strong defensibility using whether it's in data or something else. And he talks about the stack of AI from hardware, model, tooling, application, and you can go into different areas, and some of them have like lower barrier to entry and some others not really. And by industry, looking into legal, AI for legal, AI for accounting, AI for finance, for healthcare, for real estate, XYZ. So just kind of breaking that down. And so that was a call with Radical Venture. For ESG impact, I mentioned already, like the stat is actually interesting. 55% of startups fail due to people-related issues. So you want to be proactive about, the emissions if you're building out something with a lot of supply chain, like, really like innovating with hardware, supply chain risk, ethical design if you're doing product, and, diversity, equality, inclusion, regardless of what company you want to build. And you need to identify what areas you want to focus on. You can't prioritize all of them, but and these priorities should continue to change and grow as the company grows. So just being mindful about these kind of externalities that you should be keeping in mind as you build your company, and making sure it doesn't come back and bite you. And a few more talks, like I mentioned, learning a lot more about the VC's relationship with founders, how VCs operate. So this is a talk with Bernie, one of our Antler kind of leaders here in Toronto, and how to operate, how VC operate, how they run as a business, how they make that money, how they get the money to invest in us startups, and how to identify great startups. Like, founder, the team, the market shift, the size of the market, how the moat, and just observing us for the next 10 weeks or 7-8 weeks. That was a great data point for them to see grit and all these soft skills. And the mistakes of like building, not a painkiller. You want to build something that really solves a big pain, not just like an incremental improvement. So, and like also not researching enough, asking the wrong questions to your customers, and not be able to capture value. These are like big mistakes. And pretty much. And then the last thing I want to share that I learned about a little bit more about customer discovery. Pretty much that, surveys are easy to do. You can send them off to LinkedIn and your network and get some pretty like volume data, but it's very hard to capture quality through that to that level. So it's definitely important for you to spend time building out those difficult, more challenging ways of getting customer discovery, which is through interviews, discovery calls with people in your network. I can share more of that in week 3 as I'm doing that right now, and it's a pain, but it's also really fun. discovery calls, focus groups. The challenges here, you have to ask the right questions, read the mom test. You're not asking leading questions. And if you're doing a group interview, like mediating a group is very hard. But the hardest thing that's also the most valuable is if you know where your customers are, you should go and talk to them. Go and watch them work. I think this is the best way to see the pain points that you may not have been able to capture otherwise. So definitely, if you can, try to go watch them work. Watch them do something that you're trying to streamline or automate, and see how time consuming it is. See all the different things that they have to do, and the context switching, and try to capture that insight. So that's pretty much all the things I've learned. I mean, there's other nuances and small things here and there too, but very, very useful. I think the second week has been kind of really well done in terms of preparing us for week 3 and kind of getting us ready for reality, which is, we're not here to watch presentations and learn things in the books and draw things on the whiteboard. We want to go and build something great from nothing. And I think especially the second half of week 2, they're really ramping up in terms of how to set us up for success. And I'm really excited about week 3. So far, it's been pretty good. It's been really great. A lot of different dynamics happening, basically, because you're more free now to kind of prioritize your time in the way that you want. But I can share more of that next week. But yeah, how I am feeling, I think I feel, at least at the end of week 2, the pressure of finding the right co-founder. Grateful that there's a lot of people that I want to work with who seems to be equally excited to work with me. A lot of it is just like if you like each other, and I think the values is the most important part. It's less about the ideas that you have, or your working style and all these things. It's just about what is your definition of success, and how do you communicate that, and if you work together and you're like more collaborative, you understand and respect each other. And I've been feeling like that with like a few people, so I'm really grateful that at least I'm not hard to work with, and that there's a lot of great people around. So that pressure is it's a good problem to have, but it also kind of feels like a reality TV. You have to pick and choose, and people get hurt. But thankfully, it sounds like from what I've seen, at least in my cohort, people have been really respectful and professional and mature about having these open conversations, and you definitely don't want to lead them on. You want to have this direct, open conversation as early as possible. And for people, so really grateful about that. Really excited to get started on week 3. I think, I might be pursuing with one of the founders that have really strong alignment in terms of values and experience, but as well as the idea that we want to work on. I think we both came up with this idea. So this is the person that we worked on together in Design Sprint 2, 3, and 4. We just felt like there's something there because we want to work. We came up with this idea together individually before the program, and we realized that we both had the same idea. I feel like, and we're targeting and like startups and tech startups as our customers, so it's a little bit easier to validate because we have a lot of people in this network. So we felt like we owe it to ourselves to kind of see this to an end and really go out there and validate and see if does this idea or a part of this idea or any version of this idea have any legs. So we're most likely going to be tracking out and see where that goes. But really, I think tracking out is not as stressful as people should take it. It's about just being committed for a week at a time, a few days at a time, to know that you want to just like dive deep with this person or people. So I've been kind of been really excited about the support so far, and really excited to kind of track out or not, and to validate this idea and see where it goes. And there's going to be a lot of interesting things that I can't even predict right now in terms of where I'll be in the next few weeks, but as of now, very excited to get started, excited to talk to customers, and really get this thing going. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. This is obviously mostly for myself, but also if anybody finds this useful, glad to help you. And I'll see you guys next week.